Kamusta po? Ayan na. Kamusta naman kayo dyan? Ihabol natin yan. Pasensya na medyo late tayo, but sabi nga, habol natin yan. I was hoping kanina actually to have really the lawyer behind the disqualification ng Duterte Youth. Pero yung pala sa kabilang channel rin pala siya. So sabi ko tomorrow na lang tayo. Kaysa pilitin sa isang araw para naman medyo fresh naman or medyo different yung angle. But obviously naman, parating naman tayo iba yung angle natin, you know. When I approach things, because we approach things as a social scientist, political scientist, and of course an analyst, and hindi naman tayo nag-approach this as a purely journalist kind of background. But anyway, we're on vlogs, and speaking of vlogs, sabi ko naman, the good thing about the vlogs is that unlike yung mga TV shows natin or international news shows natin or etc., yung may mga fixed time slots yan, di ba? At saka medyo may fino-follow tayo ng format. And obviously, no matter what format naman, yung journalistic objective is very important to us. But in terms of flexibility, in terms of spontaneity, in terms of our approaches to understanding, explaining things, yan ang parati kong gusto dito sa ating decision to make our own vlog, the deep dive over the past 3 years. So thank you so much again sa lahat ng mga followers natin who have given us the confidence, who have given us the inspiration and the energy na kahit ito na mag-midnight na, we're just a few minutes away from midnight, pero good morning, guten morgen, or whatever you are in the world na ibang time zone. I hope naman ma-appreciate nyo at least efforts natin para humabol dito. Tomorrow we'll try to have again Attorney Emil with us to discuss things. Again, I'll try to make sure that we approach this from quite a different angle kumpara dun sa kabilang channel. But I think momentous ito because there are a lot of things happening. There are a lot of things happening na sabay-sabay. Kanina, grabe yung reaction ng tao nung pinost natin na banned na po, or basically medyo awanin, alpasen. Siyempre mag-appeal sila in all of that, pero mukhang awanin, alpasen itong Duterte Youth. Ito. So, grabe. As we speak, wala pang 7-8 hours, mag-18,000 emojis and reaction na yan and 3,000 comments. So, quite interesting. Mukhang maraming tao ay natutuwa. So, development, wala akong sinasabi Wala akong sinasabi. I'm just saying maraming tao ay medyo na-inspire or natatawa. Tingnan nga. Yan. Guys, 3,000 laughter emojis. 3,000 laughter emojis. 10,000 likes. 4,000 heart. And 25 na galit. And 17 na sad. So basically, 42. Total of 42 ka-TDS nag-react. 10,000 ay yes, 4,000 ay nagmamahal, 3,000 ay nagtatawanan. So yeah, medyo at least on our page, even if maraming trolls at mga ka-DDS na nakatambay dito, I think it's quite an overwhelming expression of emotion, kumbaga, or position dito sa nangyari sa Duterte. I think what actually got people's attention is the fact na nilagay ko yung youth in quotation mark. Because, last time I checked, malayong mas youth pa tayo kaysa mga iba dyan na gusto mag-represent ng Duterte Youth. No offense, about 4, 5, 6 years pa tayo mas bata sa mga yan. But anyways, siguro naman ang definition nila kuya is World Economic Forum Young Leader. I think yung World Economic Forum Young Leader is until 42. Kasama ako sa Munich Security Conference Young Leader, that I think that's until 40. Young Leader ka pa rin. And I think it's also the same dun, Young Leader din sa Shangri-La Dialogue. Although 20s pa ako naging Young Leader nun, medyo almost isang dekada na, di ba? Yeah. Guys, come on, guys. We should have expected this for quite some time. Pero I'll try to put this in within the bigger context just to be clear dun sa mga siguro nag-join sa atin from different corners of the world na masyadong bago kayo magde-deserve. Ito so Commission on Elections Second Division has canceled yung registration ng party list group ng Duterte Youth. Ito yung nirelease lang kanina. COMELEC Chairman George Garcia in a 2-1 vote. So may isa pang umangal. Parang ito yung umangal na nung yung panahon si Guanzon ay umangal. Tapos hero siya ng mga progressive pinks and all. Next thing you know, wag na natin patulan, not worth it. Which is the full name okay. Ito daw, so na-cancel yung kanilang registration, 2-1 vote, nevertheless. So ganito, when a group's registration is cancelled, it loses all rights at saka yung privileges niya as an accredited party list group. So basically, yung pinakabasyan nila para tumakbo or mag-represent ng so-called DDS Youth or whatever ay medyo nawala. Ang decision na to ay base doon, of course yung mga nanonood ng kabilang channel, you'll already know this, sa isang 2019 case filed by youth leaders who correctly pointed out na Duterte Youth was not a genuine representation of the youth. Hindi ko maintindihan anong ibig sabihin ng Duterte Youth. Because the last time I heard something like youth and the next to the name of some authoritarian leader that was in Mussolini's Italy and the far worse version of fascist version we saw on the other side of the border there in Europe. Hindi natin kailangang pangalanan. So I really also never understood what is itong Duterte Youth na ito, anong pinanggalingan na ito, ano bang gusto nila i-represent. So basically Duterte Old ay nasa detention center. Pag-usapan natin by the way ang Europe shortly because may update ako at I also confirmed with my sources in The Hague who correctly predicted what we're about to discuss later, which is rejected na po yung application for asylum ni Harry Roque ayon sa mga relevant authorities. And to be honest, between relevant authorities and Harry Roque, ba't pa tayo maniwala kay Harry Roque? This is the same Harry Roque who confidently said na wala daw ICC warrant of arrest. Next thing we know, Digong was basically taken out of the equation and straight into The Hague. But anyway, so ito yung 2019 case kung saan kinwestiyon talaga ng mga totoong kabataan, I think technically speaking, at mga totoong youth groups na JAPEX ito. Just to give you an idea, ito po yung mga kabataan na pinag-usapan natin. Alright? Like, I think pretty obvious na mamaya kumpara natin dun sa gusto mag-represent ng kabataan. But anyways, ba't nawawala? Ito. Sorry I mean, we need to be clear about this thing. So ito ay, wait. So ito. So ito mga kabataan, as you can see, I think we cannot have any question about whether but clearly these are young folks, probably even Gen Z, right? Who correctly try to remind people ano ba talagang kabataan. So just to give you a background about this, guys, so Rappler has a good summary of this. Ito yung legal troubles ng Duterte Youth ay dati pang galing yan. So pre-pandemic era pa yan. So nung September 3 pa lang ng 2019, youth leaders representing no less than former Commission Elections Chief Brillante Jr. and election lawyer Emilio Marañon, who I am sure you saw on the kabilang channel, but hopefully we'll have him tomorrow. Nag-file sila itong petition to declare as void ab initio or void from the beginning the party list registration ng Duterte Youth. So parang ano yan, parang kumbaga kung may sa annulment, parang you're questioning the very validity of the thing from the very beginning, right? So of course yung mga kabataan, totoong kabataan na petitioners were Ria Magtalas, Abigail Tan, Raina Punzalan, and Andel Roz Angkos, right? So ang basically argument nila is yung Duterte's registration should be declared void from the beginning because yung COMELEC en banc approved it without the publication of its petition without proper hearing. So basically, minambo-jumbo ni Roche nila yung proseso. Ito yung statement ng petitioners, again for reminder that the respondents Duterte Youth is exceptionally and unusually the only party list organization since the institution of the party list system of election in 1995 to have been granted registration even without the publication and hearing requirements. This is illegal and constitutional. Just to remind you guys, ayon dun sa 1987 Constitution natin, in particular Republic Act number 7941 or the Party List System Act, ito pa yung requirement no for COMELEC to do two things at the very least pag isang grupo ay nagre-register for party list. Otherwise, kung sino-sino yung magpa-party list. Kasama dyan, A, publish the organization's petition in at least 2 national newspapers of general circulation and hold the public hearing on the application. Pero nga, yung COMELEC was not able to do these things for Duterte Youth after it filed on May 2, 2018, an unverified petition with the COMELEC to be recognized as a, quote, sectoral organization representing the, quote, youth and young professionals. Obviously, guys, kailangan talaga natin ng Duterte Youth para magkaroon ng representasyon ng interest ng ating mga professionals and young people. We desperately needed them, apparently. So desperately that apparently they had to rush through everything and basically violate the basic rules. And again, Republic Act 7941 or the Party List System Act, yung mga basic requirements ay hindi ginawa. So obviously something mambo-jumbo was going on. Now, back then, COMELEC's 2nd Division summarily dismissed the petition for insufficiency of form and substance on October 9, 2018. Pero ginawa niyang ruling na yun without publishing or holding a public hearing on Duterte's Youth registration. Yung Duterte Youth then filed its appeal with the COMELEC en banc, which ruled in favor of the group. Alright, the petition argued this is unconstitutional. The petitioners argued, but they also said because no hearing was held, the public was not given a chance to know about the Duterte Youth's application and to, quote, timely oppose it given the magnitude and gravity of its defects. Alright, now, obviously, the man of the hour, Cardema, kanina pinakita ko yung youth, diba? I think you can just Google it. Okay, but there were other grounds also for the cancellation of the Duterte Youth registration, including it has no bona fide intention to represent the sector for which the petition has been filed. It advocated violence or unlawful means to achieve its goals. It was funded or assisted by the National Youth Commission, which Cardema formerly headed back then. It violated or failed to comply with laws, rules, or regulations relating to elections, and its petition had been filed to put the election in mockery or disrepute. Alright? In fact, yung mga petitioners back then quoted a viral post made by Duterte Youth's official Facebook page on May 7, 2019 kung saan tinitretan nila yung mga basically, they were threatening to exterminate from the streets, quote unquote, yung mga, quote, comrades of the New People's Army, rapists, criminals, and terrorists in the country. So basically, may pagka-fascist youth nga ang rhetoric, diba? If you look at Mussolini's fascist youth and all, you would hear crazy, almost genocidal, cuckoo, delulu, stuff like that. Like, go ahead and kill all the... Yung mga ganyan horrible stuff. While these words can be conveniently denied by respondents as, quote, just a colorful and exaggerated language, we should not forget that, as petitioner said, these words, when uttered publicly, is reduced to how they will be consumed and understood by the common man, even if the poster mean it differently. And let's not forget, we're talking about Duterte Youth saying these things at the height of Duterte's war on drugs, whereby thousands and thousands of Filipinos were being killed under suspicious circumstances dun sa budol drug war ni Digong. Speaking of budol, guys, right? I mean, there are levels of budol. But back then, Cardema was already 34 years old, which clearly made him ineligible as a youth representative who should be at most 30 years old. So talagang ang daming mga questionable stuff. But speaking of interesting, yung after Cardema's initial disqualification to actually represent the Duterte Youth, so it's one thing yung Duterte Youth itself ay budol daw, and then yung gusto pa mag-represent ng Duterte Youth budol din, way above the maximum age. But interesting, back then, COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon, back then, called for an investigation to whether he committed, quote, material misrepresentation when he filed for candidacy, particularly siguro regarding yung mga age and other relevant qualifications. So back then, Guanzon was an interestingly, I would say, sensible and sane person. I mean, I do no comment na lang ako sa mga pangyayari ngayon, but bahala na kayo musga, but ayoko na magsalita. Mahirap na, not worth it. Now, this brings us back, guys, dun sa fundamental argument ko na kitang-kita natin, purong budol yung nangyaring panahon ni Digong. Fake nga yung drug war, fake yung justification of drug war, fake yung pangako na Philippines will be safe in 3 to 6 months. There were all of those weird situations going on back then, but kitang-kita natin na hindi tayo tunay na demokrasya during Digong because there were just mumbo-jumboing. Hindi lang yung ating human rights relevant laws, but there were also mumbo-jumboing, guys. Itong registration of Duterte Youth or someone, and there was so much sense of impunity na isang tao na way overaged was trying to budol his way through. Now, interestingly, later on, hindi ba si Guanzon din parang biglang gusto niya tumakbo dun sa isang party list tapos magre-replay? Anyway, I'm just saying interesting times, right? Interesting, ricochet of history, whatever you want to call it. But going back to this, guys, this is what I keep on saying. The Duterte power base was always a combination of 3 different groups, right? Kasama dyan yung let's just call them genuine fascists like Digong probably. By fascists I mean people who just brazenly and some would even say dumbly just glorify violence as a kind of a solution to complicated problems, right? Lahat na lang ang gusto ito kang. And then of course you have this trapos who want to just politically survive, so they will put their political survival above whatever is constitution or their jobs requires of them. But there's a third group I always mention na mahalaga, and this is very relevant to our discussion today, right? Which is, remember the Guanzon, Cardema episode, hindi ba ironic na, anyway, connect the dots. But going back to this, the third group I mentioned are the grifters. There's a less nice way of putting it, but I think you get what I mean by grifter. Basically, ito yung mga tao na sa madaling salita at sa mabait na salita, alam mo itong mga tao na to, basically walang merit, again, to put it nicely, to ever make it legitimately through any legitimate institution for any kind of a legit position. Basically, again, I'm trying to be nice, but you can see what I'm saying. So kitang-kita natin yan dun sa mga DDS vloggers na iba. Alam mo itong mga tao na to would never make it, were never legit, like high level either academics or journalists, or some of them never really made it even to any blue chip institution, whether in academia, media, whatever, or any legit publication. So basically grifters, right? Yan ang mga grifters, right? Ito mga tao na sa totoong buhay, meaning yung mundo kung saan merit is a basis for promotion and hiring, whatever, they would have never made it to any legit institution and all, because basically wala silang skill sets, wala silang merit, whatever. Hindi na natin kailangan pangalanan yung mga tao to. Kaya basically that's why you get all these lowbrow agitators and pretentious pa-intellectual, pa-effect, mga ganon, na parang not even worth making patol anymore to. But going back to this was the situation he had. There were all of these grifters who saw in Digong their ticket to essentially success. Because alam nila, under normal circumstances, whether constitutionally speaking or meritocratically speaking, they would have never made it. They would have never made it to be a big journalist. They would have never made it to be a great academic scholar. They would have never made it to top government officials. So grifters ay basically ito yung mga factotum who were just riding on the coattails of Digong, because si Digong nga nakachamba, he made it all the way up. Diba? Si Digong ay pang barangay level lang yung kanyang competence, or not even at that level, and they were able to make it there. Right? Ayan na yung mga DDS natin na hurt na naman. Si Rion Ismael. Sorry naman, Rion. Baka naman, pwede mo naman i-google ng konting pangalan natin at yung mga maliliit na achievements naman natin sa buhay, diba? Anyway, magagalit naman ito. No, I'm just saying the truth, right? Okay, let's throw some names, right? Or actually not names. Let's throw some images. Speaking of grifters and people you know na would have never made it to any relevant position based on their own merit, wait, wala akong sinasabi biglang lumitaw tong picture na to. By the way, have you seen this meme? Grabe naman gumawa ng meme na to. Talagang dumadami nga tong cardboard na to eh. Nakita mo yun? Ex-convict. Convict. Papunta na daw na convict. Alright, like sabi kong ganun. Like, okay, let's be honest. In what? Okay, ganito na lang. Let's get a map, and then on the map, let's find countries that have elections, competitive elections. And then ikot mo yan, put your fingers on any country on earth na may democratic elections. In what universe yung isang katulad nito, given his skill set, would be elected to a nationally competitive, highly prestigious legislative role? So basically, this person has made it to the Senate because of this person. Basically, sinakyan lang niya. Oh, not to mention, technically speaking, na-pardon siya kaya he was able to, yung right niya to run for office, suffrage niya ay na-restore. Okay. At, naman siya na ex-convict siya. I mean, not like he can deny it, but and then look at the other guy. Kung yung isa ex-convict, yung isa naman ex-human rights. I'm not gonna go sa Ronald Leon, because Ronald has a different ex in mind, but I'm not gonna go there. We're politically correct. We are inclusive and tolerant. Let's just call him ex-human rights. That guy, okay, that person, but alam nyo na guys, na would have never made it in any self-respecting setup to any competitive national position. In fact, even when sinakyan pa niya yung coattails ni Digong, he still couldn't make it. And ilang beses pa siya nag-attempt to make it, he still didn't make it. But anyway, nevertheless, na-appoint as spokesman, na-appoint as blah blah blah. Grifter, right? Because ano kailangan niya sabihin? Sasabihin ko yan. Anong magandang para sige. These are grifters. These are people who would have never made it to the top if not for just carry favoring. I mean, like whatever you want to call it, right? To the big boss, right? And nakita na even si Digong pinagtatawa na lang yan. But and now look at no offense kay Robin Hood Padilla. I mean, he had in fairness, he had one good law, and that had to do with the welfare of our Moro brothers and sisters. But beyond that, I mean, seriously, I mean, look at Robin Hood Padilla. I mean, in what universe is he anything close to our conception of a competent legislator? Maybe competent entertainer, maybe competent action star. Wala akong sinasabi ng laos and washed up But I'm also very encouraged na sa itong huling elections. I think probably people learned something. Maybe people look at Robin Hood and said, okay, I think we have enough of that. Right? So kaya siguro hindi nakapasok yung mga iba. Kasi nga ginagawang retirement home ng Senado ng mga washed up na artista or medyo papunta na siya. But anyway, I don't want to be mean. But yun yung point natin, guys. Yun yung point natin, which is grifters. And the problem with these grifters is that outside their basically pagsakay dun sa popularidad ng isang tao katulad ng Digong, they don't have anything of their own. Right? That's basically it. Right? Now, some of them medyo nag-upgrade na, bongo, but nagkaroon ng sariling di ba? But others are clearly still there. Right? Or not everyone is as skillful and multifarious as Bongo, politically speaking, right? Political, I didn't say in terms of legislative competence or whatever. Anyway, so yung iba na dating photo bomber, errand boy, ngayon senador na, blah blah blah. But yung iba, nakikita natin kahit naging senador na or kahit naging ganyan na, basically that. And this is the problem, guys. This is the problem we're facing because unfortunately, ang dami mga grifters na ganyan. And I think the worst grifters I've seen were during Digong's time, and a lot of them are still around. And we know these people will never find a legit place in any legit institution. So really, their best hope is for Duterte's to come back, because maybe once again they'll have a shot at power, right? So let's just be clear about that. I don't know kung troll ito si Adarna. Yes, hate mong Liberal Party, wala akong pake. We can criticize the Dilawan forever. I've criticized them forever, way before you guys even knew how to spell, I don't know, populism. But my point is, none of the kapalpakan ng Dilawan, none of the kaiwanan ng kasalukuyan administration should distract us from that situation. Now, speak of one of those grifters, so, ang claim ng Department of Justice and relevant authorities is na-deny na daw yung kanyang petition for asylum. So, last time I was in Hague, I was talking to certain people who knew exactly where he was, what he was up to, and I asked these people, and these are the same people who told me there'll be ICC warrant of arrest. Kaya nga last year pa lang sabi ko there'll be an ICC warrant of arrest. Medyo earlier than not, but nevertheless nangyari, so we're correct. I'll talk about the interim release a little bit shortly, but I discussed that interim release earlier. But aside from the interim release and the prospects of interim release na pinag-usapan natin, I think the other day, the other thing also to keep in mind is yung issue ng asylum ni Harry. Basically, the way it works is this. Yung Netherlands government, ang dami nag-apply na asylum sa kanila. Ang haba ng pila. It can take years, whatever. And Netherlands has had tricky relationship with the Philippines because of the Joma season precedents. It's a long story. We don't have time for that. But basically, medyo natauhan sila na be careful also which kind of people you're giving asylum to, because that could create unnecessary tensions, whatever, especially. And more important now, ang pinag-usapan natin someone na pugante, basically. Someone is escaping from justice, or at least escaping from proper investigation for based on serious allegations of criminal conduct, Pogo-related and beyond. So, ang sinabi sa akin nung nandun tayo sa March sa Hague ng ating relevant sources, who by the way even told me about the logistics of Duterte to the Hague, ilan yung stops, alam natin lahat yan. Anyway, the thing is, the fact na hindi siya diretsyong pumasok sa Netherlands from outside European Union, that automatically undercut his case. Because apparently may Schengen siya, pero yung Schengen niya was issued by another country, I think in this case Germany. So automatically that would have disqualified him from, because sasabihin ng Netherlands is, bakit ka humingi ng asylum sa atin? Huminga lang doon sa bansa nagbigay ng Schengen sa'yo. Last time I checked, Germany is also a liberal democratic nation. Germany is also a constitutional democracy. And last time I checked, rule of law din in Germany, or at least at the same level as Netherlands. So basically, it was very easy for Netherlands to reject him the asylum. Now, which brings us to the interesting point right now. Hindi ako naniniwala pag sinasabi ni Harry na hindi totoo yan. I think, as I said, very clear na malabo talaga ang asylum applications niya. But I'm hearing, it may be true though, na wait. Let me double check now. Was that the interim release? Okay, wait. That was the interim release pala. Okay, so na-reject na. Okay, so wala na yan. What I was actually trying to confirm kanina with my sources is, yeah, it was this one. Okay, it was the interim release nga. Okay. So wala, okay. Sorry na lang. Wala. Mga malabo. Anyways, good luck na lang sa kanya. Tapos na. Now, let me just go to the interim release issue again. So, fake news yung sinasabi na fake news, yung na-reject yung kanyang asylum. Wala. Good luck sa kanya. Wala. Just the last point I want to add here, guys. The last point I want to add is the issue of yung interim release. So, dry na yung lips na. Sorry. Long day. Very long day. Ganito. Yung interim release ni Digong, malabo din yan because he has to prove A, that he's not a flight risk. Now, given all the resources that Digong has, kahit mag-bail pa siya ng kung anong million, alam naman tayo mayayaman talaga ng mga Dutertes. I mean, honestly, like, tingnan mo lang yung defense team ni Sara. Tingnan mo lang yung anyways, tingnan mo lang yung bayad kay Kaufman or whatever. Like, basically, we know na medyo may kaya. Medyo, no, rich people. Rich people. So, flight risk is nothing inconsequential considering maraming kakayahan itong tao na to. And obviously, marami sa kanyang mga followers or their people close to him who may calculate that better just to take him out and save him. I don't know, thank him to China or whatever, for example. That's one. Number two, dapat i-prove niya na hindi niya i-continue yung alleged crimes that he's accused of. And this is why parang sabi ko, fake news ba to nung lumabas na kasama sa petition nila is itong promise na he will basically no longer commit crimes. And I had to confirm kanina again, is that like so obviously hindi siya language barrier kasi may English side naman itong abogado na yan, Cambridge graduate naman, so marunong naman mag-English. But what I'm saying here is that why would you say that? And hindi yan kailangan to say na he will not commit any more crime. No, it's not part of a template. There's no such thing. I confirmed that again kanina. But the third thing is, you also have to reassure the court na you're not going to be a risk to the procedures of the court, including a risk to the proceedings of the court, and a risk to yung basically mga taong pwede mag-witness sa'yo, including mga pamilya ng mga biktima ng EJK. That's quite a high bar. Nevertheless, having said that, hindi totally impossible, and here I want to be fair, again, this is based on reliable information again, hindi totally impossible na Digong will not, hindi totally impossible na Duterte will get an interim release. Because from what I'm hearing is that there is a Southern European country, yes, that it is possible that there is indeed a Southern European country who may give him an interim. I won't say more. I'll just keep it at that. So I'm just saying, just in case binigyan siya ng interim release, hindi ibig sabihin na inosente siya. He will basically be something like under house arrest. Right? Parang Arroyo back in the day, or medyo slightly better than, I don't know, ERAP situation back in the day. And alam natin guilty naman talaga. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that we have to be prepared for the possibility that indeed an interim release may be granted after all. And as I said, a candidate I'm hearing is a Southern European country. I'll just keep it at that level. I won't say more. But even if he were to be granted that interim release, that doesn't mean he's innocent. And he will still have to appear and fly in and out. Oh, yun, medyo mukhang malayo. So he has to fly in and out to Hague. I can say how many hours away, but whatever. But so he's still gonna be a person more or less in like a kind of a freer form of detention, but nevertheless a person that is could potentially face lifetime in jail. So let's just keep it on that. Gabi na, it's past 12. Interestingly, dumadami mga tao na sa YouTube. Sino ba kayo? Ba't gising pa kayo? Matulog na tayo. But anyway, in the end, baka Southern Europe pa yung magbibigay na kay Tatay Digong. I don't know, it's because sinabi natin na Human Development Index. But anyway, joking aside, I'm saying hindi imposible from what I'm hearing from my sources. Right? So baka nga hindi totally fake news yan. But I'm saying, even if bibigyan siya, that doesn't mean he's innocent. It just means that he'll be under house arrest, under more, I would say, palatable, or I don't know, friendlier conditions. Siguro he can meet more people, he can have some fresh air, some whatever. Kawawa naman si Tatay Digong, di ba? Sanay naman kasi sa luxury eh. Mayor for life, trapo for life, traditional politician for life, dating presidente. But I'll keep it at that, and I'll say thank you very much, guys. We hope to continue this conversation later this week with other interesting guests. We hope to have Ma'am Leila de Lima, back also Dina De Leon. We also have to have back our attorney Christina Conti. More and more people also on this show. I'm hoping also to arrange an interview soon with a couple of interesting folks, including, for instance, Justice Carpio, and not to mention, let's see, there are other interesting people that we have to look at. On that note, thank you very much, guys. Maraming salamat. God bless, and talk to you soon. Thank you very much, guys. Maraming salamat, and talk to you soon. Yes, yes, yes. Sa Cool Pals. Sana makabalik tayo sa Cool Pals. Nagka-miscom lang kami doon sa isang episode, but I hope natuwa naman sila ng special assistant ako kay Sir Ronald. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. Matulog na ako, magpahinga na ako. Been quite a few really rough days and all, and I'm trying to just keep focus and keep eye on the ball, and yung ating mga duties and all dito sa ating bansa. And thank you so much again, guys, for all the love and support and prayers. And as I said, let's just also hope and pray for peace amid all of this crazy conflict. So many innocent civilians in different countries right now are suffering. Children are dying. I mean, kanina there was a news of a pregnant woman also dying, getting killed in a strike. I mean, it is unfathomably wrenching. So I hope sometimes we don't forget our shared humanity, and instead of just taking sides blindly and whatever, and making debates here and there, and mumbo jumbo mythologically based arguments, whatever, we don't only look at the international law, we also look at our shared common humanity. On that note, thank you very much. God bless, and